So I'd like to have a chat with you about positive comments and negative comments and how they make you feel and how they make me feel, and I'm a little hot and sweaty today and I hope you don't mind. When I watch something, I often have an emotional reaction. For example, if I go to see a film, I often leave the theater and the emotion lingers, and coming back to the real world can be jarring. I think of that emotional reaction as a kind of potential energy. It makes me want to do something proportionate to the feeling that I'm having. I've left a movie wanting to change my life, buy a motorcycle, or yell at someone, but generally I'm standing in front of a movie theater when that happens, and I can't do most of those things. So instead I walk home and talk about the movie with a friend, and slowly those emotions fade away. The web, of course, is not really like a movie theater in this regard. We're given opportunities and even encouraged to convert some of that potential energy into action before the emotions dissipate. If you have a little bit of that potential energy, you might release it by hitting a like or dislike button. If you have a little bit more, you might leave a comment, or you might subscribe or unsubscribe. If your emotional response gives you even more potential energy, you might write me an email or take a picture or tear out a page from your journal and send it to me. People have all kinds of different emotional reactions to the same thing: joy, wonder, sadness, excitement, annoyance, anger, and they can also have very different degrees of those emotions. Sometimes I like to make a crude map of these emotional reactions by looking at how people use the different opportunities that they have to react. For example, I recently released a video called "Your Eyes Are Stupid," which a lot of people watched, and I used the ratings bar to get a general sense of the distribution of emotional reactions. About 1% of the people who watched the video had enough potential energy to rate the video, and it was mostly positive, about 9 to 1. About 0.1% of the audience actually got enough potential energy to leave a comment, again mostly positive, a 9 to 1 split. This is sort of what I imagine the emotional reaction curve looks like. Most people that viewed the content had a mild to none reaction to it. Not enough potential energy to do anything, they just watched. But a small percentage got enough juice to act. But because it takes that extra amount of potential energy to leave a comment, both positive and negative, the resulting comments are polarized, more intense, love it or hate it. Sometimes the amount of anger and hatred in these comments can seem out of place. For example, some young gentleman said that they wanted to punch me in the face because my voice was so annoying. I can easily see how someone might find my voice annoying, but an annoying voice doesn't generally warrant a face punching. I personally imagine that the anger came from somewhere else. Maybe they were already angry, maybe they were upset that they didn't have a positive reaction to the video and they felt isolated. Maybe they imagined that I felt smug or superior, that I'd gotten a lot of views and they wanted to put me in my place. Or maybe they were just an asshole. I don't know. Now, when I see a comment like that, of course I have a reaction, but the kind of reaction that I have has to do with what I think that comment represents. Now, if I think about it as representing the physical action of face punching, it can be quite stressful. Having been on both sides of that equation, I can tell you that it's quite unpleasant and does little to reduce anger. If I think about it as something that was said to my face, it can make me aggressive and a little unsure about what's about to happen. Also stressful. But if I think about it as a view into someone's mind who's experiencing a lot of anger, it can actually be interesting, not stressful. A lot of people have violent thoughts, and as long as those thoughts stay thoughts and they don't become obsessive, it's actually pretty normal. There was a nice study on this done by Rockman and Da Silva in 1978 called Abnormal and Normal Obsessions, and they list out a number of nasty things that pretty normal people think. But obviously there are very different repercussions when it comes to thinking that you're going to punch someone in the face, saying that you're going to punch someone in the face, and actually doing the punching. The repercussions of thinking are all internal. You might feel bad about those thoughts, but you're in no real outside danger. Saying those things in a public space leads to different kinds of repercussions. It might ostracize you, damage your reputation, or lead to a confrontation. And acting on those thoughts, of course, leads to the biggest repercussions. You might hurt yourself or someone else, you might get arrested or even killed. I think of those punch you in the face comments as somewhere in between thinking a thing and saying it in public. And I think that the repercussions should be proportionate. They should be blocked from ever interacting with us again. But beyond that, I don't think it's worth thinking about. Sometimes I imagine seeing a very troubled person across the street muttering and yelling. I might feel sorry for them, I might wish that they got help, I might feel bad for their anguish, but I steer clear of them. That's kind of what I'd like you to do on this page. Ignore them. Some of you want to protect me or each other and yell back. I think that's really nice of you. I want to protect you too. I like you, and I will protect you as best as I can. But this isn't my first rodeo, even though I've never been to a rodeo, and when I do go to a rodeo, I'll say this is my first rodeo. Point is, we'll be fine. And now Stefan Bucher will illustrate one of your problems.
Emmy writes, I have too many people who think they're close to me. I can't tell only one of them something without offending all the others. I love them all, but they are not entitled to my life. I have too many best friends. Emmy, this is all about their insecurity. You know that. Here's what you do. Secretly, one-on-one, give this card to each one of your friends. Tell them that if they ever reveal what it says to anybody, you will never speak to them again. There you go. Problem solved.